After the Passover supper, Jesus and his disciples sung a hymn, perhaps one of the Halal Psalms, which include Psalms 114 to 118. Then Jesus took his disciples to the Mount of Olives. And there, the self-doubt of the disciples at the supper is contrasted with their overconfidence in the garden. Jesus warned that they would flee his side, recalling the prophecy of Zechariah chapter 13 and verse 7, that when the shepherd was struck down, the sheep would be scattered. Peter was bold in his rebuttal and said that he would be the last man standing with Jesus. Jesus warned, however, that not only would Peter forsake him, he would deny him 3 times before the rooster crowed twice. Peter said, "No, Lord, I will die with you." And the rest of the disciples, not wanting Peter to have the last word, said they too would die with the Lord. They would not forsake him. Jesus went to the Garden of Gethsemane to pray, and he took with him Peter, James, and John, his 3 closest disciples, and asked them to watch and pray with him. He went on a little further and prayed that the Father would allow the suffering that he was about to experience to pass. And yet he said, "Not my will, but your will be done." Jesus was always determined to do the will of God. And in that, he serves as the great example for us. On the other hand, Peter gave little evidence to bolster his claims that he was going to be with the Lord all the way through. He couldn't even stay awake while Jesus was praying. So much for the man who said he would stand with Jesus even through death when all others had forsaken him. It would have been approaching the wee hours of the morning when Jesus was praying in the garden. And Jesus knew that Peter's spirit was willing, but his flesh was weak. And yet Jesus said that Peter needed to overcome that weakness in order to prepare for the temptations that were coming his way. A second and a third time, Jesus went away to pray, "Let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but your will be done." And a second and a third time, he came back and found Peter and the other 2 disciples sleeping. The third time Jesus came back, his words were ominous. The time for preparation was over. The betrayer and the Son of Man's betrayal was at hand. He was about to be betrayed into the hands of sinners.